Ancient Sumer, Section 6. The Arts. All civilizations have a highly developed culture, including the arts. Arts include creative forms of expression, such as painting, architecture, and music. There were many kinds of artists and artisans in ancient Sumer. Metal workers made objects like weapons and cups, as well as decorative items, such as mirrors and jewelry. Architects designed temples and ziggurats. Sculptures carved, sculptors carved statues that adorned temples or were used in rituals. Music was another influential art in Sumer. The Sumerians may have believed that music brought joy to gods and people alike. Musicians sang and played instruments during temple ceremonies. They wrote love songs and entertained guests at feasts. Sumerian musicians played a variety of instruments, including drums and pipes. One favorite was a small harp called a lyre, a wooden instrument made of a sound box and strings. A wooden bar held the strings in place at the top. Makers often decorated their instruments with precious stones and with carvings made of horn. These decorations demonstrate how much the Sumerians valued music. And here's a picture of one. Like, they're pretty cool looking. Section 7, Technology. All civilizations create new forms of technology. The Sumerians made several technological advances, the most important being the wheel. The earliest examples of the wheel date back to 3500 BCE, when Sumerian potters, or pottery makers, used them as a surface for shaping clay into pots. A potter's wheel would spin flat side up on an axle. The Sumerians discovered that a wheel could be rolled forward when flipped onto its edge. They used the discovery to create wheeled carts for farmers and chariots for the army. They constructed the wheels by clamping pieces of wood together. It would be hard to discover a more powerful invention than the wheel. Before its invention, people had to drag their goods on flat-bottomed carts called sledges. Wheeled carts made it easier to move goods over long distances because they did not get stuck in mud and could support heavy loads, unlike the earlier sledges. Oxen could pull much more weight on wheeled carts than on sledges. Another technological advancement was the arch, which is an inverted, upside-down U or V-shaped structure built above a doorway. To build arches, the Sumerians stacked bricks made of clay and straw to rise from the walls in steps until they met in the center. Arches added strength and beauty to Sumerian buildings. They became a common feature of temple entrances. Some historians say that the arch is the Sumerians' greatest architectural achievement. Section 8, Writing. The final characteristic of civilization is a highly developed written language. The Sumerians created a written language called cuneiform. This name comes from the Latin word for wedge. The Sumerians used a wedge-shaped stylus, a sharp-pointed tool, to etch their writing in clay tablets. Sumerians developed cuneiform around 3300 BCE. The earliest examples of cuneiform show that it was used to record information about the goods people exchanged with one another. At first, cuneiform writing may have contained as many as 2,000 symbols to stand for sounds and for words and phrases. Over time, this number was reduced to about 700. Cuneiform was based on an earlier, simpler form of writing that used pictographs. Pictographs are symbols that stood for real objects, such as a snake or water. Scribes used sharpened reed to draw the symbols on wet clay. When the clay dried, the marks became a permanent record. Here's an example of it. Lesson summary. In this lesson, you have learned about the characteristics of Sumer society that made it a civilization. Stable food supply. The ancient Sumerians invented an irrigation system and the plow to help them create a stable food supply. Social structure, government, and religion. Ancient Sumer had a complex social structure with different jobs and social levels. Kings led the government. Religious beliefs influenced every part of daily life. Arts, technology, and writing. Ancient Sumerians had a highly developed culture that included the creative arts of painting, architecture, and music. The Sumerians' most important technological invention was the wheel. They also created a written language called cuneiform that was based on pictographs.